Thank you for listening to High Noon Friday. My name is Chloe.
And I'm Hunter.
And we have a very special interview for you all today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kenny Haller. I'm a former student at SUNY Fredonia. I was the president of the Music Industry Club, and now I do online content creation.
Awesome. So speaking of Fredonia, what did you study when you went to Fredonia, and when did you graduate?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2021, a COVID year, and I studied music industry.
Awesome. You mentioned that you were the Music Industry Club president. What was that like when you were there?
You know, it was weird because Music Industry Club is a club about putting on events. And I happened to become the president in the year where we couldn't put on any events because we weren't allowed to go anywhere. We had to get our weekly COVID test. You know, they had all the protocol in place and no one wanted to catch COVID. So it was a really strange experience. Obviously, it was amazing. It was something that I dreamed about the day I got to Fredonia. But it faced a lot of challenges. So I think it was really cool to be able to take on those challenges, even if it wasn't quite the year that I was expecting or dreaming of having. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. And I think it helped me out a lot with my future projects.
Do you have any favorite memories from when you were in the club? It doesn't have to be when you were president or anything. It could be beforehand as well.
Yeah, I think the first year I was at Fredonia, so I transferred to Fredonia as a sophomore. I went to community college for a year. But the first year that I was at Fredonia, I was having a bit of trouble, I don't know, networking, I guess. Making friends is the actual word for it. But they always say, hey, you got to network. You got to meet people in the major. And I didn't really know how to do that. And I think Music Industry Club was the real reason why I started meeting a bunch of people that had similar interests I do. I had a few friends, but they studied different things. They did different things. So Music Industry Club really allowed me the opportunity to fall in love with putting on events, local music, which is not something that I was into at home. And yeah, I truly fell in love with it. It was super amazing. The first year Solstice Jam is probably my favorite memory. Just being able to stand out in, I don't even remember the name of that little area. Is that Barker Commons? Is that ringing a bell?
Downtown.
Am I nailing that?
The one on campus?
Dodds Grove? That's not Barker Commons.
No.
Okay, that's, what is that?
Dodds Grove?
With Dodds Grove.
Thank you.
I got you. Thank you. I needed a little assist. I wasn't talking about Rockin' the Commons, which is also a great event. Yeah, I think it was just truly amazing to hear a bunch of really cool bands and just really enjoy myself and fall in love with local music.
Cool.
Awesome.
So even though you've already graduated, the current e-board of Music Industry Club has asked you to be a judge at this year's Battle of the New Bands, which is tonight. So are you excited to be a judge?
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be super entertaining. Like I said, I loved at all my time in Music Industry Club getting to hear the new bands. I mean, some of my favorite Fredonia bands have come from Battle of the New Bands. That's how they appear, most of them. So I think it's a really cool experience to be able to see people who just really want to try to create something. There's even more bands, I'm sure, that tried something and they either auditioned or they didn't. But it's really cool to be able to see the best few perform for basically their first time in front of a pretty big audience. I think it's a really cool experience. I'm excited to judge. I've done it once before, and I think it's going to be really entertaining. I know nothing about any of the bands. I'm going in blind, so I don't know what they're going to sound like. I don't know if they're going to be indie folk, if they're going to be screamo, if they're going to be, I don't know, ambient music, sleepy time hour. I don't know, but I'm excited to hear it.
That's good. You're non-biased.
Yeah.
I have a really quick, non-related question, but it's related, but not for the interview. I just need to know. Were you there when Beach Tower went to their first, their Battle of the New Bands?
Yeah, that was
2019, right?
So yeah, that was 2019. I was on the e-board. So funny story about that. I was on the e-board, but I had a bit of a conflict of interest because I had a band that also auditioned for Battle of the New Bands. So I wasn't allowed to judge my own band. My band in the audition process, because the top 3 got in, and there were 8 bands that auditioned that year. It was crazy. my band came in 4th and Beach Tower came in 3rd. So they kind of took my place. But then Beach Tower's amazing and my band, I'll say it, wasn't good. So I'm glad Beach Tower got in.
That's funny.
What? I'm so curious. What did you do in the band?
So we had like a weird little like indie, like acoustic sort of band. We had someone who played like the piano and sung. We had someone who played the guitar, and I like did basically anything else. I played like the box drum for a lot of it. I sung some harmonies occasionally. It was like a chill little time. We had like 2 songs that were okay, but like we did not click together. So
Yeah, cool.
Well, now that you are coming back, how does that feel to be coming back full circle? You know, you were on e-board before, now you're a judge coming back to Fredonia after these couple of years.
yeah, I think it's gonna be strange. I think, cause like, you know, going back to Fredonia, aging myself like 2.5, 3 years after I graduated, it's like, what is this old man doing on the Fredonia campus? Like, get the old people off the campus. So it's gonna be a bit of a strange experience. But also, I think it's gonna be really cool to see, cause like with the year I was president, it was really tough, and like a lot of clubs were like really struggling because obviously we had COVID. We couldn't meet in person. We couldn't do speaker events. We didn't do Battle of the New Bands. We did Solstice Jam in like a recorded video that like we asked different bands to make, and then we all sat together like 6 feet apart. So it was like weird, and it's really cool to see that like I didn't completely destroy the club in my year, and that they're still going much stronger after COVID. I think that's something I'm going to be really proud of, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, definitely. So you understand because you obviously went to college. Right now, it's like finals time, and it's kind of terrible, and everybody's just like crying and sad. Why do you think that students should come out to Battle of the New Bands?
That's a good question. So is next week?
Next
Is next week like the week before Dead Week?
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, if next week's Dead Week, this is your like last chance to have fun. Like you got to study next week. What are you gonna do? Study on Friday night? Grow up. Welcome to the real world. No one's studying. It's Friday night. Go out. It's from 8 to 10. It's in the Williams Center NPR. Come out. It's 2 seconds from your dormitory or like 5 minutes from your apartment down the road. Just come on out, hear some music, have a good time, and then if you want to go home, and you're probably not going home after that. Okay, let's be real. So just have some fun. It'll be a good time.
That's a good pitch.
Good answer, yeah.
True.
So now that you have graduated from Fredonia a couple of years ago, and you've done a lot of work since then, streaming on Twitch, going on TikTok, on YouTube, etc., when did you create your first like accounts, and how has it kind of excelled since then?
Yeah, so I mean, I started like really falling in love with content creation probably like my senior year of high school, right? I still had this dream, which partially ties into why I studied music industry. I thought I was going to be a famous musician, right? A guy who can't really play any instrument or sing that good thought he was going to be a famous musician. Famous last words. So I would like make videos of me making music or me singing, and I was posting them on YouTube. They would get 8 views. I was like, let's go. That's a banger video. But then about like my senior year of college, probably partially due to COVID, I got really into watching people stream on Twitch. I think it's a great way to, like, if you're feeling a little lonely, a little disconnected from people, which especially at that time, but still to this day, a lot of people feel. It was a great way to feel connected because you're watching someone live for hours at a time. You're interacting with them. So I decided to start doing that. I would play random games on Twitch. Like 4 of my friends would show up and I would stream to them. Sometimes some other people would come in if I was playing a game people were interested in. But nothing really went anywhere with that. I think the closest I got to like any sort of good followers is I put on this event with a bunch of people from like the Fredonia music scene where I made them all play chess against each other, which was an absolute banger of an event. It probably got like 50 people watching. I thought I was famous. They were all awful at chess. So it was, and I was commentating it. Great time. Absolutely great time. But Then after I graduated, you fall into the real world. It's tough. You got to get a job, whatever the hell that means. People don't tell you in college. They absolutely do. They tell you all the time. But they don't like prepare you in college enough for like the month after you graduate college. You got to like find a job and you're like, oh my God, this is the rest of my life. I'm going to cry. So you got to do that. And then, stuff falls away from you. So I really struggled to continue to create until about January of 2022, where at the time I was selling car insurance at Geico. Love that for me. But I actually don't love that for me. I take it back because I actually like hated it so much. I was working from home. I never felt so lonely in my life. So I quit. And I quit. I had about a month or two worth of like rent and everything saved up. So I was like, I'm just going to get back into content creation, look for like a part-time job. And then I played Wordle on a Twitch live stream, like my 4th stream back, and posted it on TikTok, and it got like 5 million views. And I was like, huh? So, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life. And now we're here, almost 2 years later, which is crazy to think about. Still doing Wordle. So it's, it works.
Yeah. Is it safe to say that like most of your content kind of type of thing is like Wordle related, but like do you do like any other like games or like?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like word game based, right? Like they have Wordle, a lot of New York Times based games, Wordle connections, mini crossword type things. But I also do like some geography challenges. I do like some random other personality videos. On TikTok, they have like 1 million of like the dumbest but most addictive filters of all time that you could play for the games. I do a lot of those because those always do really good. It's really whatever the algorithm is telling you works. You make one video doing something that works, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'll do 20 more of these until it gets buried into the ground. So it's just one of those things. Whatever's working, that's what I'm going to do.
Going into content creation, did you have any specific like inspirations?
Yeah, I mean, I think my senior year, I watched a lot of like a few different YouTubers / Twitch streamers. I watched a lot of like Ludwig. I still watch all the time. I don't know if like anyone listening to this knows them, but Northern Lion. Northern Lion does this amazing thing where he could talk about anything while playing anything, and it doesn't have to be related, and it's going to be like the most engaging conversation of all time. So I think I have tried to learn a lot from that into like my own content, that like it doesn't really matter what you're doing, it matters how you're being. Like if you're being entertaining playing Sudoku, people are going to watch, even though like who wants to watch someone play Sudoku? So it's just one of those things. There's probably a bunch of other people too I'm not thinking of, but those were like my main 2 like favorite content creators when I first started.
Really good 2 picks. I'm a big Ludwig fan.
I was just gonna say you and Hunter have very similar tastes.
Yes.
That's cool. So when you kind of were like growing your accounts, like right now you're at like 1 million on TikTok, which is crazy, over 100,000 on like YouTube, and then like thousands of followers on like Instagram. Like how did you grow those accounts?
I mean, it all stems from TikTok, at least like 99% until like the last couple months. Basically on TikTok, I was playing Wordle every day, and it was doing really good in like the first half of 2022, because that's when like Wordle craze was going crazy, at least part 1. So I was just playing like the daily Wordle and some other daily games. And it was doing really well. I got up to like 150,000 on TikTok. And then it's sort of, people were like, oh, am I going to play the damn daily Wordle again? It sort of faded out. And then in 2023, what started happening was me and some other content creators who did similar things started making a bunch of collaboration videos together. So we would like come up with custom Wordles for each other to solve. They would be goofy or silly or dumb or extremely difficult. And then all of a sudden, like all 4 of our accounts, like the 4 who started it, and then there's a bunch of other people who do it now too, we all kind of skyrocketed. And they were already up near 1 million, but now they're at like 2. And I got up to 1 million in like 6 months from March to September, something like that. And then I started posting more on YouTube. Mostly like I just edit the videos differently from TikTok. And then a whole different audience started watching those who has like knows nothing about the Kenny Holler lore on TikTok, which is funny because I talk about it in all my videos as if they know. So they get really confused. But yeah, it's just like a really weird sort of thing. It just happens sort of overnight, but gradually, and it's hard to like wrap your head around. I try not to think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What overall from your past kind of content creation, what has been your favorite part?
I really enjoy the process of like creating something I'm proud of. I think that's my favorite part. Like when I record, no matter what it is, if it's Wordle, if it's some random other game, sometimes I just like know when I think it's a really good video. And that's like my favorite day. If I'm in a good mood, if I'm like, for lack of a better word, if I'm cooking, it's just going to be a great video. And I think like the whole posting of the video isn't my favorite part, because sometimes you'll post a video that you think is the best video of all time and it'll get like 4 views and you're like, oh, my career's over. But like just the process of like creating and being able to like do what I love. I just love having like this creative outlet because I've always wanted like a creative outlet. That's why I did music in the first place. I just think it's really amazing that I'm able to do it. I'm obviously incredibly blessed to be able to do it. I try not to take that for granted, even when I'm upset about views or some other dumb thing, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. So another part of like being a content creator is you've created some merch, which is available on your website, kennyhaller.com. And
that's true. It's actually available right now.
Yes, at the time that this is going on air.
Yep.
The merch is available. It dropped at noon, so this is good timing. High Noon Friday exclusive time. Yes.
Yeah, I actually I booked this interview exclusively to promote my merch to the Fredonia students. It's a big audience for me, so I needed to make sure that they all knew and they all bought it.
Right.
So then I could afford rent. No, I'm kidding.
You're 3 steps ahead, you know?
Yeah. But you talked a little bit about how you really just kind of enjoy the process of creating things. Does that come into play with your merch?
100%. I think it's some of my favorite things to do. Being able to create something that I really love, and then seeing that like other people really like it too, no matter what it is my favorite part. And I suck at designing things. I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't do nothing like that. That's not my expertise. But just being able to, I just love making like designs that I like. I think I've talked about this somewhere before, but like before I had any followers, I was already coming up with like merch ideas for myself, which is like so cringe. No one's buying your merch, bro. You got 5 viewers on Twitch. Like, it was just fun for me. That was the thing. It's not like I thought anyone was going to buy it. It was just like a really fun way to, I don't know, be creative in a way that's very different than how, you know, I normally do it with like video creation. So I just really enjoy putting out merch. It doesn't really matter to me if anyone buys it. Obviously, it supports me. It helps. But that's not really the reason why I do it. I just really enjoy creating stuff. I do mostly text designs because that's what's easy enough to design for me. But yeah, I find it really fun, and I just really enjoy it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How would you say, so taking it back to like when you were a kid and everything, did you ever expect yourself to be a content creator, putting out your own merch based on your own designs and all this own like brand kind of stuff?
I've kind of always expected myself to be doing creative things and failing at them, but like enjoying them. That was kind of like my goal in life, which is kind of sad when I put it that way. But I always just kind of expected, like my goal was just to keep doing things I loved.
Right.
I didn't expect to like gain a ton of followers or like, you know, have a career doing this. I just wanted to, I always thought about like, oh, I would love to like make videos. I would love to do this. And then I would think about it. I would make a whole plan and I'd be like, I can't do that. What am I talking about? I'm 16, bro. I got a tiny trailer I live in. My mom's going to yell at me if I try to create a video right now. What am I talking about? So like, yeah, so I always kind of like wanted to do it, but I definitely didn't expect it to like become a thing, like that's my job.
Right.
I always kind of expected, like, that's why I studied music industry, was I was trying to find a way to change my creative outlet into a job that I could enjoy enough, that supported me while still being like kind of creative, whether it was like managing or putting on shows or anything like that, because I think that's a really fun, different kind of creative outlet. But I think nothing would have truly satisfied me the way like this does. And again, I'm just incredibly lucky. I never expected it to blow up. I just wanted to do it for fun, maybe make a little bit of money for myself, but definitely not full-time job worthy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats too. That's
Congratulations,
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
You've done well.
Yeah. Do you have like any goals that you're hoping to achieve in the future?
You know, so it's weird because I hit all my goals for 2023, which were supposed to be really out there goals for myself. 1 million on TikTok when I had like 150,000 followers at the start of 2023. 100K on YouTube when I had like 20,000, and 10K on Instagram. I think I hit like 30 something thousand now, which was weird because all those were like, they were just like stretch goals. I was like, I just want to aim towards there, hit somewhere close. So I don't know. The last like month and a half has been weird because I hit all my goals now, and I'm sitting here like, now what? But I think a lot of what I want to do going forward is just make sure that I make this sustainable, number one. I've never been interested in, I know like some YouTubers and TikTokers are like uber rich, successful, you know, you hate them. I've never been interested in that, but just make it like sustainable enough where it can support me like long term, so I don't have to super stress, get a sustainable source of income that way, and then just create more stuff that I want to do. I think a lot of times you get really handcuffed into making one particular thing when you're a content creator, because that's what people want to watch, right? If tomorrow I made I can't think of a good example. If tomorrow I made a makeup tutorial on YouTube, 4 people would watch. So I can't do that and support myself, but just being able to find creative ways to keep innovating and doing more of what I want to do while maintaining a good audience that can still support me, I think is a major goal for myself next year. And I'm excited to try to take it on.
Awesome.
Good luck, yeah. Now, where can people find you?
So on most places, I'm just at Kenny Haller. That's Haller. So also, if you're looking up the merch, it's Haller. On most places, it's just at Kenny Haller. And if it's not at Kenny Haller, you'll see I'll probably come up because hopefully I have enough followers where that's not an issue. If you type in Kenny Haller, I should be the result that comes up. I got an uncle who's also Kenny Haller. I hope he doesn't come up ahead of me. Okay, he's a pediatrician. I hope he's not coming up before me. But if he does, I gotta work harder to become the most famous Kenny Haller.
Surpass
It's
the
a fierce
pediatrics.
competition.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like when I first started out, I would look up Kenny Haller on Google, and his face would come up. I was like, yeah. I was like, come on. But yeah, I think if you look up Kenny Haller anywhere, I should come up. It shouldn't be too challenging for you if you're interested.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, I could, if just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. If you're like a student, which I'm assuming most people who are listening to this are a student, and just like struggling with trying to find time or energy to do what you really want to do. Because I think a lot of problems with doing like your creative outlet, like something that you've wanted to do, but maybe isn't a sustainable job unless you get extremely lucky, is finding the time and finding the energy, especially after you're doing school, maybe you're doing some clubs, maybe you even have a job on campus, is just finding ways to find a little bit of time here and there to continue pursuing it. It doesn't have to be consistent. It doesn't have to be every day. Obviously, that's great. But the more time you could put into whatever you want to do, if you want to be a singer, if you want to manage an artist, taking more time to study like how that sort of stuff works. If you want to do a radio show, if you want to do whatever, the more time you can put into like figuring out, okay, what do I need to work on for this? And just getting better and continuing to innovate on what you do, I think will really help. Because like when I first started content creation, I was awful. I would sit there, there would be like awkward silence all the time. I didn't know how to edit the videos. The videos would have awkward silence all the time. They didn't have catchy intros, so no one would watch them. But I thought like, oh, this video is gonna do great. And then it would get 12 views. So I think a lot of content creation is trying, or anything, I guess I'm talking about anything, is trying and failing. And I think that's a really important, though, like, sucks part of the process. And I think you can't be too discouraged by those fails. I think you got to keep pursuing what you want. And it might take a super long time. It might take years. It might take a decade. Who knows? But if you really want to do something, whether it's a job or just a hobby of yours, just keep working at it. And I think you'll get better and better. And then one day, I think you'll succeed, whether it's tomorrow or, 15 years from now.
Awesome.
Hey, drop the mic, man. That was a great answer.
This mic's expensive. I don't want to.
Don't. So before we close out, just remind us when and where is Battle of the New Bands tonight?
I got this, guys. I got this. Listen to this. If you want to come to Battle of the New Bands and see me judge 3 hopefully incredible bands, I know nothing about them, but I'm going to assume that they're incredible. You could head on out to the Williams Center NPR at 8 p.m. Is it 8 or is it 7?
It's 7.
Did I mess it up?
It's 7. It's okay. We'll cut it. We'll fix it in post. It's okay.
I thought I had it. Okay, scratch that. If you head out at 8, you're going to be a little late.
7 to 9.
So head on out to the Williams Center NPR at 7 p.m. That's EST. That's EST. Don't get it mixed up on your time zones. And you could listen to 3 incredible bands. You could vote for your favorite. And you could have a great time, dance along. I think there's probably going to be a few other things going on there. And I think it should be really fun. You should definitely come on out.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I'm the worst spokesperson for this. I keep messing it up.
It's okay.
I think
You're
they'll
doing
get
great.
it. Yeah, we'll be there at 8 though.
We will be there.
Probably.
Okay, good.
That's the goal.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for coming on today.